Today we find ourselves on the campus of Loyola University in Chicago. This is the Lakeshore campus, so named because it is the original campus on the lake shore. And as you look through the information center directly ahead of us, you are literally looking through the building onto the lake. That building was built in the late 1990s. In the space just between us and that building stood the old Jesuit residence built in the 1920s. By the time I was studying philosophy here in 93 to 95, the building was in terrible shape and was known among some of us as the Death Star. This information center is an extension of the library. It has no books in it. It's all computers, of course. And here we see the old library, the original library, that's quite lovely inside, and it has what books libraries have these days. We see here now a classroom building. I think it's called Dumbach Hall. It's the site of the original Loyola Academy, the high school that was affiliated with the university until about 1930. It's now on its own and in the suburbs of Chicago. This is Trinity Science Hall, one of the original buildings that at its inception would have faced the Jesuit residence. This is a new building, but built in this old style. The former president wanted to tore down a really terrible classroom building, architecturally terrible, on this site, and replaced it with this building. They had found the plans for the building in the archives. It had been intended as part of the campus, but never built, and now here it is. The taller building in the back originally belonged to the IBVM nuns, who were still here when I was studying. They have since sold their property to the university. We see behind these trees Madonna della Strada Chapel, where I was ordained in 2000, and is the only building still standing on this campus that had anything to do with my life while I was here. The interior has been renovated so completely that it no longer bears no resemblance to the chapel that I knew when I was studying here and when I was ordained. So what is the lesson in all of this? Let me repeat. Every building I had anything to do with during the years that I was studying, from 1993 to 1995, those buildings have all been torn down. Madonna della Strada has been redone inside. It's quite beautiful, but I don't recognize it as part of my own experience. Of course, this information center was not here either. So what is the lesson we might draw from this? Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. But even the things that used to be the same change. And then we wonder, what does all this mean for my life? I was here, but in what sense was I here? I was here in a very real sense, that the signs and the symbols of what I saw and what I experienced and where I lived no longer exist. So this is, of course, what memory is for, the memory of my own story. This is what Scripture is for. It's the memory of our collective story, with glosses from men and women of wisdom over the centuries and the millennia, as well as the inspiration of the Lord Himself. Whatever else might be true, this is a glorious day. The sun is magnificent. The lake is magnificent. The students are active and about. This place is alive and well as it is today. It's alive and well in my memory. And God is in all and all. So we give God thanks and praise for all that is true. Let's respond to God's call today to know what is true, to hold on to what is true in our present day lives, in the concrete, in the spiritual, in the intellectual, and the emotional. And let's honor that which remains in our memories, perhaps better in purified form, so that the difficulties and the stresses and strains of those earlier times can melt away, can become part of our past, while these vivid memories remain very much part of our future and our lives today.